Healing bath salt. You know, guys, as we stop and we think about this, sometimes companies will launch products simply to try to create sales. One of the things that I decided to do early on in Be Young was to only launch products when there was an absolute health need. You know, a lot of companies, like I said, will launch a product and then they'll give it to the marketing team and say, okay, figure out how to make this thing sell. And so they'll go out there and they'll tell you that it'll make you stand up and spit silver bullets, or it'll take the hair right off from the back of a hog's belly, you know, or it'll make hair grow in cement. And so all these things the marketing department will spin so that you'll get excited and want to buy that product. And that always bothered me, and all the companies I was involved with along the way, that always bothered me because I just felt like it's not right. It's just not correct. And so I always wanted to bring products on that would actually have a significance, a health benefit, that would be something that would not just be fluff and buff. You'll find that I'll use those words quite a bit as we do these presentations because it has to have a purpose. And so I want to give you the background tonight on why. Why bath salts? And in order to do that, we want to go back and spend some time with the history. Salt is not something that just emerged on when everyone started saying, oh, Dead Sea salts are amazing, or Celtic salts is amazing. You know, it's been around for a long time. It literally dates back to the 27 BC. It's been used for so much, for so many things. In fact, in the research that I've been doing, literally have come across 40 different varieties of salts that's been described in ancient texts. I had no idea that there were that many kinds of salt out there. You know, you think salt. You put it on your food and makes your food taste a little better, or you put it in when you're canning or dehydrating or tanning a hide or preserving something. But I never thought that there was that many kinds of salts out there. And for thousands of years, it has been used for bathing, eating, and as a monetary mean. People would literally use salt to buy goods. They would trade with it. It was a commodity that was valued as great as gold or silver. You know, in the ancient Romans, they literally used the bath salts and touted for their cosmetic benefits. What did it do for your skin? And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But even in ancient Egypt, Cleopatra soaked in mineral-rich waters of the Dead Sea. I mean, it has the highest salt concentration of any body of water in the world. But along with that, it brings a little bit of a challenge today. 15% of it is laden with toxic heavy metals and other chemicals. Now, bath salts are known as the fountain of youth. Why? Because they literally help nourish the skin and tighten the skin. That's why the ancient Romans built bathhouses, and the elite would literally go and soak in these communal bathhouses, and it was amazing. In Japan, they actually made complete resorts out of the ritual of bathing, which attracted a lot of people to come and to find the therapeutic aspect there. Even today, we see that that's still part of it in these cultures. And we find that the wealth that was spawned from salt was absolutely amazing. In Greece, they used it as currency. They traded slaves for salt. And that's where you get the phrase, he's not worth it. He's not worth his salt. Because they bought someone with salt, got him home and tried to get him to work, and they didn't work. Well, he wasn't worth his salt because they spent the salt to buy the person. Kind of interesting as you look at the history. And even the soldiers are paid, not paid with money, but they're paid with salt. Hence the word salary is where that comes from, being paid in salt instead of in money. And so it has a great history, it has a great tradition. It's been used so much. I mean, literally, in ancient times, warm salt water was used to treat sore muscles, arthritis, psoriasis, acne, and even freckles. Help lighten the freckles for other skin conditions. And so, as you can see, when we start looking at salt, it started to really pique my interest. It's quite an amazing medium. And so, of course, I did like everyone else. I ran out and I bought the Dead Sea salt and I threw it in the bathtub and I jumped in thinking, oh, this is going to be so great. And it's like sitting on pebbles. And when you get up, you kind of brush them off your hind end because they're stuck there and you have all these little marks on your bum. And you take and clean them back out and put them in the jar because you don't want to go down the drain with them. And they just don't dissolve. And so I'd go with other bath salts I'd find from Estee Lauder and whatnot. And there were so many fillers in there that when you would get out, there'd be this here ring around the bathtub. And I'd go, oh, you got to be kidding me. And I just started seeing a lot of challenges with bath salts out there. So we looked at Celtic salt. We looked at Himalayan salt. We looked at, like I said, the Dead Sea salt. And I just couldn't find anything that I really could grab a hold of. You ever tried taking essential oils and put with the Dead Sea salts, those big old honking crystals? It doesn't mix well. It flashes off. And after a little while, you just got salt. The oils are already gone. And so it really became a real challenge for me, a huge challenge. And so I started looking at every imaginable salt you could find. Redmond salt, right on through the ones that I described. And as I was doing this, I started running across some medical uses for salt. So I started turning my focus to what would happen if we used a salt with essential oils. What kind of medical benefits do we have? And I started finding that there were a lot of common elements that were treated with bath salt. In fact, Hippocrates encouraged his followers to use salt in their healing acquisitions. They would literally take and make this salt brine and use it as a form of medicine to the people. Even the Roman doctor published a 5-volume book, and this book literally had 365 different herbal treatments and medicine treatments using salt. It was for wounds and bites and digestive problems. Absolutely amazing. I mean, the recipes are still there, still available. You can still, you can't handle a book, but some of them are published that you can see. But this is clear back in the 15th century. We start seeing that this becomes very popular when adding to herbs and essential oils. And in 1753, an English author and physician, he published the book using seawater. He became so popular with his modern aspect, and when I say modern, from the 15th century up to the 17th century, his modern take on seawater and using bath salts of every color, size, and fragrance. Literally, he wound up making huge bathhouses and actually charged a lot of money to bring relaxation, health, and wellness to the people around the world, but mainly in England. And he did a lot of work, and his recipes are still used today in the alternative healthcare area. So with all this here talk and realizing that salt is so amazing, I wanted to find a salt that would work well, that would be kind of nice, it would dissolve readily, it would hold the essential oil readily, that was not impure. And so in the process of doing this, I stumbled across a salt called dendritic salt. Now this salt is specifically grown to form the kind of crystal that you can see there. That's why they call it starflake. Because what they do is they take the brine and they filter the brine. And they filter the brine 9 times to remove the heavy metals, the impurities, any kind of toxicity that you can find there. And by doing so, it is 97% pure. It is literally an unmatched salt out there. It's absolutely amazing. 97% pure. And they add 3% yellow potassium soda to it. And this causes the crystal, as it's growing, to grow in a starflake shape. And this really creates an amazing thing. What it does is it has such a unique property, being in this star-shaped form, that it literally absorbs 2.5 times more essential oil or anything else that you add with it than any other salt on the market. It's exceptionally flow of value. Means the starflake shape keeps it from clumping. It has rapid, super rapid dissolving rate, and it has a very strong blending ability. So you can blend it with a lot of different things. Now, one of the things that you find, and why I love it so much, with the starflake shape, you don't have the clumping that you will find with other salts. And what do they do to get over that? They actually, in commercial table salt and bath salts, they add extremely alkaline trisoda phosphate to prevent the clumping. Now, where do you find trisoda phosphate? Any of you know much about trisoda phosphate? Well, let me give you a couple ideas where you'll find it. Now, of course, if you just take the word trisoda sodium phosphate and Google it, the chemical aspect on it, it'll come right up: poison. Flat out poison. It will kill you. Where do you find trisodium phosphate? In table salt, in bath salts, and also in Drano. It is the #1 product in Drano, in toilet bowl cleaners. It is super caustic. It dries out your skin and literally damages your skin, killing the epithelial tissues. So if people are using other kinds of salt and they're grinding the Dead Sea salt or their Celtic salt or even just regular sea salt, they're having to add this trisodium phosphate to keep it from clumping. You guys, there's a huge problem there, a huge problem, because it is destroying tissue, killing epithelial cells, creating aging on your body. Now, unfortunately, pure sea salt usually contains a high level of contaminants, literally up to 15% of things like toxic elements, industrial pollutions, heavy metals, and even material left over from birds that come and spend a lot of time in the water. The whiter the salt, the sodium chloride, the more pure it is. And so that's one of the things that you want to look at. Now, of course, when you look at our relaxing bath salt, it's not going to be very white because we have blue tansy in there, which creates more of a blue cast. But the pure Starflake bath salt, before essential oils is added to it, it is absolutely just bone white, beautiful, pure white. Only, like I said, only 3% impurity there. And that's kind of amazing. So when we look at salt, is it good or is it bad? You know, there's a lot of controversy on salt going on out there. A lot of people, oh, cut your sodium intake. It's causing the water retention. Oh, it's going to cause a heart attack. Oh, it's going to cause hardening of the arteries. Oh, you shouldn't be bathing in salt because you got too much in your diet as is. If you bathe in salt, you're going to absorb that in. Now you're going to be over the top. Guys, there's just a lot of crazy information out there. Let me share something with you. Your blood is 0.02% salt. If you did not have salt in your body, it is an important electrolyte. You literally would die. Now, let me just share something with you here. When we moved to Canada way back in 1970, we moved way out into the bush. We were 90 miles from the nearest city on a dirt road. Nearest neighbors were 25 miles away. And we had no running water and no electricity. And we cleared 360 acres of timber, built a home. And it was kind of like Swiss Family Robinson in Canada, kind of like. It was kind of amazing. Well, one day, Dad slipped off the road and put a big old stick right through the radiator. Well, you just can't run to town, have it fixed, and run back. And so he needed to solder it. And so if you're familiar with radiators, they have these fins going through this way and then little fins this way that actually pull the heat out of the water to keep the motor cool on a car. And so what Dad did is where the stick went through, 4 or 5 of those fins were ruptured through. You just go in and bend them over, solder them shut, and so you'd have a dead spot in that center so you could get to town and get a new radiator and get it fixed correctly. But his soldering torch ran out of propane. So he couldn't fix it. And the other car was not working. So we were stranded, no way to get to town, 90 miles away. So he literally took and built a soldering torch. We took the carbon core out of an old D battery. So I had to beat the battery apart, get the carbon core out, put it inside of a copper tube. I sharpened it with a pencil sharpener so it was nice and pointy. copper tube he hooked to a wire, went over into a probe that went into a bucket through a lid that he built, and then another probe that came out, and the other wire hooked to the bottom of the hooked to the metal of the radiator. And he says, okay, now hook that to the battery. So the one probe went to the battery, one probe went to through the bucket to the soldering thing that we built. And he says, okay, it should work. It wouldn't work. And so he says, go get salt. So I went and got the table salt and started pouring the salt in. And as the salt salinity came up in the bucket, as the concentration became more and more, all of a sudden that carbon probe out of the battery started to light up. Eventually, as I continued to add enough salt, it turned that probe into a blazing hot probe, and he was able to solder the radiator. Guys, salt is an amazing conductor of electricity. If you do not have enough salt in your body, you cannot move electrical impulse from your brain to your toe. It's so important to understand that salt is not a bad guy. The abuse of salt is something you have to look at, and the dirt that is in salt is the other thing you have to look at. You take, for example, a lot of your table salt, you render it down, and guys, here's a test that you can do. Just take a clear glass of water tonight, just clear. Best if it's filtered, not chlorinated, but just clear. Then take a tablespoon of your salt that you eat every single day, and you put it in the cup, and you stir it up until it dissolves. And then you tell me whether or not you want to keep eating that brand of salt. You will absolutely gross out. I mean, it will look like there's toilet paper in your cup because they add so many fillers and garbage to your salt. That's why salt is so bad for you. It's not salt bad for you. It's the garbage in salt, or what we might call the dirt in salt, that's bad for you. Some salt was even clear full of volcanic glass. It doesn't separate because they mine it from the ground. And when they do that, they get this volcanic glass in there. Well, when you eat the salt, it's so microscopic, it goes in and just cuts the inside of the arteries, and now the body is going to spring a leak, and so it puts some cholesterol on there so you don't spring a leak, and then here comes, it puts calcium on there so you don't spring a leak, and now here comes cholesterol along, sticks to the calcium, and now you have a big old hardening in the artery, and now you have high cholesterol, and everything is going on crazy because of the dirt in salt. But when the salt is pure, when sodium chloride is pure, look at the benefits. It helps maintain your electrolyte balance. It helps the food absorb in your intestines. It acts as an antihistamine. It clears your lungs from mucus. It helps lower the acidity in your cell. And it helps to regulate your blood, and among other things in your body. So I wanted dendritic salt. I wanted the purest salt. I wanted something that would pull the essential oil in. I wanted something that would keep the essential oil from flashing and not oxidizing. And I wanted something that would dissolve super fast and keep the oil in suspension in the water, so you just didn't have oil floating on the surface of your tub. Once we found this here salt that is actually grown on burlap bags and then picked and harvested to be that pure, we then had to put together a grouping of oils. Here is the grouping of oils that I selected to go into this blend. And the Healing Basalt blend is phenomenal. It is my favorite basalt, bar none, because I can do so much with it. With Eucalyptus radiata, Eucalyptus globulus, Eucalyptus polybracte, Rosemary officinalis, Cineol 1,8, Ravensara, so you have your Ravensara aromatica, not your Ravensara, and then cajeput. And a lot of you have not heard of cajeput. It is in the Melaleuca family. It is amazing, and you'll see why. So now let's go through the essential oils and kind of help you see why they're so amazing. Eucalyptus radiata is my favorite eucalyptus. To be honest with you, it is. I love the others, but this is my favorite. The reason why it is the safest when it comes to single use. Out of the 700 eucalyptus trees, the koala only eats one variety, and that's this one, narrow leaf eucalyptus. If the koala ate the globalus, the round leaf eucalyptus, it would die because the camphor level is so high. It would kill him. And so this is an amazing, amazing eucalyptus, probably the one that's the most researched. There's over 1,200 different research studies that have been conducted on this chemotype alone. But look at the amazing things. It has the ability, according to the research, to help with indigestion, respiratory problems, headaches, nausea, fever. We're going to talk about that. Fever. Remember that. Just kind of put a little mental note. Fever. Stomach aches, bowel spasms, pain, and basically due to its chemical composition with the methols and methones and a little bit of camphor and the cineol 1,8 that you'll find there. It's kind of amazing. But look at the power. Dental care, nail care, nausea, stress, super good antispasmodic. Just absolutely amazing. Good for your skin. Eucalyptus radiata is great for your skin. And one of the things that I love it for, guys, immune system booster. Of all of the single essential oils, this one has the greatest power to boost the immune system. So if you're sick, you know, get the eucalyptus on, get in the bathtub, because you're going to have the benefit here that's absolutely amazing. And it has the most pleasant smell of all of the eucalyptus, except for maybe Eucalyptus citrodora because of its lemon scent, but absolutely powerful. It is a superstar when it comes to your respiratory system and getting garbage out of the lungs and helping to detoxify you and help you during the cold and flu season. It is absolutely powerful, powerful, powerful stuff. So if we look now at Eucalyptus globalus, this here is an amazing oil too, but it has a much higher camphor level. In fact, globalus was originally used in your Hall's cough drops because of the high camphor level. As a single oil itself can actually be a little too high for children or elderly people, but really great for really drying out the mucus and getting things going. And it's been used so much in conventional medicine. Like I said, Hall's cough drops, Vicks vapor rub, they will take the camphor constituent and separate it out and use it a lot. It's mainly grown in Tasmania and Australia. They use it so much because it regenerates so quick after wildfire. And they've had huge wildfires in Australia this year, wiped out a lot of eucalyptus groves, but it'll come back very quick. The other thing about the globalus is it takes about 500 gallons of water a day. It really sucks up the water and just really goes after it. Africa has been using it now to stop malaria by draining the swamps. It can be kind of amazing what it's done there. But with that camphor level and the high level of cineol 1,8, it is a good oil, but needs to be used with precaution with small children. Very, very popular for respiratory challenges, inflammatory conditions, infections, bronchitis. These are all areas where you'll see Eucalyptus globalus, soaring and doing well. And there's a lot of research there at the bottom of the screen that you can go and look up, especially for coughs. That's why Hall's used it, because literally stops a cough. And so kind of amazing, kind of amazing. Very strong antibacterial and antiviral properties. Studies are looking at using this in a lot of different aspects, especially combining it with, they're actually using it and combining with antibiotics to see how it will heal. And they found that it improves the healing by 55% compared to antibiotics alone. And so once again, a lot of healing properties. That's why I wanted this in that healing bath salt, because boy, I tell you what, when you come back and you're hurting, you've got a fever, your body has aches and pains, and you do a double scoop in your bathtub and drop in, man, there is nothing like it, guys. I use this so many times. If I have a fever, or a grandchild with a fever, or something going on, bath salt, healing, throw it in, drop it in the tub. You can just watch the fever come right down. We've even taken the bath salt and made a spitz bath and just wipe them down with a wet towel and wring it out and keep doing it. drop a fever just like that. Take their feet and throw them in a foot bath with a healing bath salt, drop a fever, boom. It is absolutely amazing. I tell you, times I've been beaten up on a horse, bucked off, rolled around on the ground, drug along, man, 2 scoops in the bathtub, pain's gone. It is absolutely amazing. I use it all the time. We have 2 jars sitting at the house. When one's empty, I make sure I get a replacement because I never want to be without this because what it does for me. It is absolutely amazing. Now, if we turn and look at Eucalyptus polybractus, guys, its big claim to fame, along with all the other stuff you hear about the other 2 eucalyptuses, is its ability to draw mucus out of your body. It is such a phenomenal anti-mucolyptic. It is unbelievable. It's not as famous as some of the others, but I'll tell you what, for mucus resolving, this is the oil of choice. That's why I want it in there. If you have a respiratory challenge and you can't get the gunk out of your lungs, I'll tell you what, this is the oil of choice. And you slip into the bath with that, and the steam's coming up from that hot bath. And it's kind of interesting because you'll think, oh, a hot bath and a fever? How does that drop a fever? When you slide in, it literally feels cool to your body. And it just pulls the fever out, and that hot water is causing the essential oil to vaporize, and you're sitting there in that water breathing it. So you're getting topical application, you get internal application, and you're getting aromatherapy all in one shot. Guys, everybody should be bathing with bath salts because you're taking the best opportunity possible to really go after and attack challenges within the body. Anti-inflammatory, anti-mucolyptus, antiviral, antispasmodic, decongestant, great deodorant. Look at the power in polybractus. You will love this combination. Then, of course, we have rosemary. Rosemary officinalis, chemotype cineol 1,8. Guys, this one is amazing. It boosts memory, improves the mood, it reduces inflammation, reduces pain. These are all studies that have been done on rosemary. And so I just quickly listed bullet point for you. Detoxifies your body. Oh, what? Prevents premature aging? What? Come on, guys. Skin conditions? Why is this in the healing bath salt? There's your reasons, guys. Absolutely amazing. You should not be without rosemary. And then, of course, we have Ravensara. We could spend all night on Ravensara alone. But according to the people in Madagascar, they praise this oil because they call it the cure-all. As a result of the way the people in Australia talk about tea tree. Amazing results with the antibacterial, the antifungal, the antiviral, the antispasmodic. These qualities within Ravensara are amazing. Look at it, guys. You cannot imagine the expectorant action that you get when you drop into the bath of healing bath salts. It is amazing. And our final oil in here, again, one that you're not familiar with, but it is gorgeous. It is such a beautiful tree when it's in full bloom. And the oil comes from the twigs and the leaves. This is the cajeput. And it is actually Melaleuca cajeput. So it is a Melaleuca, not the Arnifolia or the Rictifolia. It is its own chemotype species. But look at the power. Decongestion again, bacterial side, expectorant, also nerves, anti-neuralgic. So it quiets down the nerves. This is something that I wanted. If you get beat up and rolled around in a football game or a soccer game or a baseball game, or by a horse, or by your wife with the rolling pin because you didn't bring home the right bacon, guys, I tell you what, slip into the bath salt, stop the nerve pain, stop the fever, get the body going again. Absolutely amazing. That's why we have 2 bottles of this at home. We never, ever want to run out, ever. And the main reason why, guys, is because bath salts have the power. It's not just something that we threw on just for you to buy something or for us to sell something. It literally has the power to create a significant change in your body. And that's what I love so much about all of our bath salt lines. It's just not a marketing ploy. They have their place, they have their purpose, and you will enjoy them. So remember, health is a habit, not an event.